I journaled for a year and it did change my life. Sorry, that might be bad news to some. So I thought I would make a whole episode today about journaling, how it changed my life, my favorite tips and methods, even the journaling items I like to use. It's definitely a subject I probably get the most questions on because I journal every single day. I have been journaling every single day for a little over a year. I started journaling in April of 2025. Okay, backstory. I've been journaling my whole life. When I was a kid, I do it every once in a while. When I was a teenager, it was very much for I'd only really journal when I really had something to vent about, which isn't necessarily bad. I think that's a great thing. And then when I got really into spirituality in my late teens, which you can kind of listen to more about that in last week's episode about romanticizing life. I got really into spirituality in my late teens and was quite obsessed with a gratitude journal. So I would gratitude journal every single day. When I was a teenager, I have a box somewhere just full of journals. And every single day, I would write down 10 things I'm grateful for. I can't remember if I did it in the morning or in the evening. Either way, it did help me a lot. But then I kind of fell out of it into adulthood and it got a little monotonous and kind of like boring for me. Also, can I just show you this cute mug we got in Japan? My matcha's in it right now. Do you have a beverage right now? Comment down below. So yeah, I kind of fell out of it into adulthood. I just stopped prioritizing it and would very much just do it a few times a year when I just felt like I really needed to vent or whatever. Or there would be many bouts I would have where it was like, I know it's good for me. I should try to do it every day. And then I would always fall out of it. But last year, April 2025, was when I decided to start doing it every day because yes, I did the artist way. Sorry again to break the news. It also kind of changed my life. As you guys know, I have been very into self-help literally since I was a kid. Like me and Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul go way back. I just love a self-help book. I love an inspiring story. I love to figure out like a new tip or way to make my life easier. And it's so interesting. The older I get, especially, it's very interesting to see how many different perspectives there are in the world and how many different ways people make their lives easier through self-help or creativity or spirituality. So I was very determined to start the artist way because I saw so many people talking about it online. I'd never heard of it. And this is when Doechii really came on the scene. We all know the rapper Doechii. We know she basically credits a lot of her success to the artist way. After she did it, she really started taking her life more seriously and her dreams more seriously. And that really intrigued me. She documented her whole process. She's kept it on YouTube. You can go see her process every single week of everything she was learning doing the artist way. It's really cool to see like where she was back then compared to where she is now. It's crazy. Like it's very clear this did help in like transforming her life. So that really intrigued me. And I had been saying for a couple of years that I really wanted to like explore my creative side more again. I just didn't really know how to go about it. It was something I kept putting off. And I think I talk about all the time. I think a lot of us come to that kind of mentality as we enter adulthood. We just kind of, our priorities shift even when they shouldn't necessarily. So I was just really looking for a way to be more inspired, and I was just eager to kind of see what it had to teach me. If you don't know what The Artist Way is, it's a book from the 90s by Julia Cameron. It's a 12-week course basically, and this is why I mentioned that I have read so many self-help books. This, by far, at least for this time in my life, is probably the most impactful one I've ever read, because you can't just read it. Like, you can, but that's not the point of it. Every week you have reading you have to do, you have tasks you have to finish, you have journal prompts you have to journal about, you have actions you have to take. And that is like the main thing that helped me. And the fact that it is 12 weeks. Every week she gives you a whole bunch of new tasks that you have to do. And on top of a different task every week, you have to continually journal 3 pages stream of consciousness every single day. And once a week, you have to take yourself on a date. She calls it an artist date, and it's just like going out and spending quality time with yourself. So I think the daily habits that stack up plus the weekly tasks on top of it all, it of course is gonna like change how you think and how you feel when you are putting in the time and effort every day to implement these new and better habits, and when you're kind of actively trying to like shift your perspective on certain things. So of course I definitely recommend it. There's a huge spiritual aspect to it, and like I've also said, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like art, creativity, spirituality, they're all very connected. And that is something I didn't really totally think about. Even though I was always an artsy kid, I never really correlated the two and how important they are in like working together. So starting the artist way, already having dabbled in a bit of journaling throughout my whole life, I was excited to finally have a reason to like implement the habit. I did not expect this aspect of the artist way to be the thing that like, in my personal experience, if you are looking for one thing that you can do every day that will change your life, like it's journaling. I really didn't expect how much I would get out of it and how much it would shift my perspective on life and the things I was dealing with in the last couple years. So I started journaling every day in April of 2025, and I think I'm on my 4th journal since last year. Like, that's crazy. I'd be lucky if I finished one in a year. Most years. I usually never would. I'd just buy a new one because I would think, oh, new year, new me. And then I still would never fill it up. So yeah, you're supposed to journal 3 pages stream of consciousness every single morning. The key is doing it in the morning because the idea is you're like dumping all the shit out of your brain before you go about your day. And I think it's just good to kind of like habit stack, like doing something as soon as you wake up. Like you're more likely to keep up with the habit instead of just like picking a random time of day to do it. And once again, I can't believe I didn't mention this in last week's episode, but a great way to romanticize your life is to journal. Just the act of doing it, you just feel very put together, very cool girl vibes. Doing it at a cafe, doing it at the park, doing it at home with your little matcha in tow. So 3 pages stream of consciousness, what is that? That is literally just coming to your journal every morning and writing down 3 pages of everything you're thinking. And in the artist way, Julia Cameron says, literally just show up. If you don't know what to write about, show up anyways and write, I don't know what to write about. I don't know what to write about. I don't want to write about a million times. Like the act of just showing up every day, it's gonna start to like spill out of you and you're gonna get the hang of it. Lots of people ask me if I used prompts when I was starting out. And I don't think I did. I love to use a prompt every once in a while, but for the most part, every morning, I wake up overthinking. Don't know how that works, but every morning I just dump like everything I'm thinking, everything I'm feeling. Back then, when I had really gotten into the habit of it after like a month of doing it last year, I was like amazed at how I was in such a better mood all the time. Every day felt a little bit better for some reason. I literally thought it would be bad juju if I missed a day. I was like, if I miss today is going to be terrible. And that's honestly what kept me at it, because just like having a space to expel all of my thoughts before my day even begins, that's amazing. Also, it just gets you like collected and ready for your day. Kind of like grounded in, okay, this is how I'm feeling. How do I want to feel moving forward? What do I want to get out of this day? The biggest thing it taught me, which I say a lot, is like you are just like normalizing every single feeling you have when you go and write down everything you're feeling in your journal. I'm often a perfectionist in my life in terms of feeling like I always have to be happy and everything has to be going good. And if it's not, it's like the end of the world. And when I am in the thick of it, I'm like, when is this gonna end? Like, this is really bad. My life is over. I can't go back to feeling this way. And it truly like ruined my life. I would say last year, before I started doing this, for years since the pandemic, like, I never really felt anxiety until the pandemic started for the most part. I had never been as much of an overthinker and a spiraler until the pandemic started. And it was just like full force every single day. It felt inescapable. And journaling really allowed me to calm my mind down, and the act of like physically putting my thoughts onto paper and like seeing my thoughts with my eyes. When do you do that when you're not journaling? Never, obviously. It just made me realize they are just thoughts. Thoughts are just thoughts. They do not have to take over our lives. They do not have to define us, or our lives, or the other people in our lives. Like, they're just fucking thoughts, and they don't have to control us. That is the biggest thing I've gotten out of journaling, is just, especially when it comes to my negative feelings, seeing them on paper, understanding they're not that bad, they're not that scary. They are just a thought at the end of the day. And before, I would kind of only journal when I was feeling bad, and it made me feel kind of like pessimistic, or just like, I just felt like I was spewing bad vibes a little too much. But when I give myself the opportunity to journal every single day, it's impactful to even see my positive thoughts, to understand like they're all equal, and to appreciate the little things in life. When I do write down my positive thoughts, or even my negative thoughts, or like neutral thoughts, just like, I don't know what I want to write about. I don't know what I'm going to do today. It's just like helps you wrap your head around the fact that, hey, we all think. All of us think. There's no escape from that. And that's okay. That's part of life. It can be a great tool. Thinking, oh my God, revolutionary shit. Thinking can be a great tool. mandyaliseliddle 2026. I just mean like we can change it from being this thing that is kind of like taking over our lives when we ruminate and overthink, to kind of like shifting it as like, how can I use this energy to put towards things I actually want to think and feel, or put forth the thoughts that I need to in order to understand what I want in life. Like how do we progress in life when we never stop to take note of how we're feeling? I think before I just felt like I was on autopilot, and I felt very scatterbrained and not very like aware of my wants or needs. And it just felt like everything in my life felt a bit overwhelming and hard to control and like organize. And once I was journaling every day, that all kind of went away. Like, and when I say my life felt hard to organize, I'm not just journaling about like, oh, a to-do list, like what do I want to get done today? I mean like just the act of writing down, keeping track of my feelings. In the artist way, you're actually not supposed to read any of your journal entries until like a month in or something. The thought behind that is like you just don't really want your past entries impacting your current entries, just kind of as a practice of mindfulness and understanding how you're feeling in each moment, really. But then when you do go back and take note of your thought processes, you know, you can kind of go back and be like, what the hell? This thing was bothering me so bad last month, and I haven't even thought about it once in the last like 2 weeks. I actually shared a video of everything I journaled about in a week on my Instagram and TikTok quite a few months ago. And even like making that video was so helpful for me. Even after practicing journaling for over a year and getting used to like writing down my thoughts as they come to me, I still have moments where I don't even realize I'm stuck. Like in that video, I was constantly talking about like, oh, I'm feeling so sad and I need to just do this and then I'll get better. And it's like, after, I literally wrote about that for like 5 consecutive days in some weird roundabout, like a different way every single day. I was basically writing about the same thing, about feeling like disorganized and like I just need to do this and I'll start feeling better. And it's like, and then at the end of the week I'm taking note and being like, hey, why are you being so hard on yourself? Why are you trying to like solve this immediately? What are you actually feeling? Not how can you get better? What are you actually feeling? And so me taking note of that, I was able in the next week to kind of like get unstuck and actually unravel how I was feeling in the moments. And even moments like that where I get stuck, that still tells me so much about myself and like my coping mechanisms and the tendencies I have in journaling and in real life. And journaling also just helped me realize the power of writing things down. You know, as we all know, you're way more likely to remember things when you write them down. So I really found the value in writing things down when I started journaling. When I would be reading a book, I have a notebook for things that I highlight. I will write down things that I'm highlighting in my book just so I can remember them better and they can really stick with me more and I can refer back to them. I make a lot of lists now, like if I'm at work and I feel like I have a lot of stuff to get done after work, but I'm not going to remember it all by the time I'm off. I will write down a little schedule of like things I might like to get done after work. Or even now I have my regular journal and then I have my monthly journal where I write down goals I'd like to get done within the month. I kind of write down my intentions, how I'd like to feel by the end of the month. Intentions are a great prompt. Putting your feelings into your goals reminds you of like what you value and what's really important to you. And I'll even just write down like random shit I want to achieve in life or items that I need or want, because I feel like we just forget to keep track of things. We're living in a very like easily distracting world, and that's also why I found journaling to be so impactful, is like especially doing the artist way in 2025 at a time where I really did feel kind of very like disconnected from who I am, to be honest, and like I'd really lost sight of what was important to me. Like as I've talked about a lot in the past 2 or 3 years, I've really been struggling with like insecurity and like literally was convinced I was the ugliest girl to walk the planet. Like that is where all of my fucking energy was going. I was just convinced I was ugly and I needed to be beautiful and I couldn't really function. It made it hard to live. I was not in a good mental state. It made me really insecure. You know, when you're in an insecure state, that affects your relationships. And journaling brought that down a notch, especially if you deal with an eating disorder, any types of like physical insecurities. I think journaling would be hugely impactful for you, because this is what I surprisingly got out of it more than anything, is like I just found myself slowly stopping to worry about these things. I stopped feeling insecure and like focusing on all my flaws and remembering like what I want out of life and how I want to be remembered and what's truly important to me. And it amazed me. Like I have been like quote unquote healed from my eating disorder for like quite a few years now, in terms of like I have not been engaging in like harmful behavior. You know, I wasn't over exercising, I wasn't restricting eating, none of that stuff. But the mentality still had a long way to go, even just like a year and a half ago. I had a lot of food noise, and like I said, I was very fixated on all my flaws when I looked in the mirror and everything. And that journaling kind of seemed to really like close up that last piece for me, where I was like, I could really just be in my journal and be like, I feel ugly as fuck today. Like, I'm so sick of feeling this way. I'm so sick of concentrating on these redundant things that is ruining my life and keeping me from going after the things I want, and just like being able to get all my frustration out in there, and then, following the path and being like, okay, I got all my frustration out. Now what do I want to do with this? Now that I've established I don't want to be living this way and thinking this way about myself anymore. Okay, we've figured out what we don't want. What do we want now? So I was, doing the artist dates and journaling every day. It just gave me an opportunity to remember the things I love about life, and the things I really value, like being creative and having strong connections with my friends and my community and my husband. And it helped me kind of understand the things I could do to kind of exposure therapy, essentially. It made me kind of review the things that were hard for me so I could try to like face them head on, like taking photos of myself, like pictures of myself. I've talked about this in the past. Like they would just like, seeing a photo of myself would ruin my fucking month. Just spiral about every little thing I saw that was wrong with me. I just was like, this is something I gotta face head on. And I was able to get over it. And being able to have that opportunity, giving myself the opportunity to be in more photos and to show up in like an unfearful way, it made me realize all like the beautiful things about myself. Like seeing a photo of my physical beauty, sure, that reminded me of the things that are beautiful about myself. I would slowly be able to see that, but I was like, I look so happy here. I look so bright. I love my outfit here. I love how I feel like I've expressed myself here. I love how this photo of me and my friend looks like, you can really see the love in our eyes. It's so corny. But the whole process of journaling about that, like, helped me come to those conclusions about, like, how I'm so much more than how I look. And the most beautiful parts of me have nothing to do with how I look. I'm kind and I'm funny and I'm open and I'm stylish and I'm friendly and I'm loving and I'm compassionate and I'm creative. I was able to realize all those things through journaling. And it makes me emotional just to talk about now, because last time I brought back the podcast, I literally brought it back because I was like, I want to be able to express myself, but I can't even fucking look at myself right now. So this was kind of like my outlet before I started doing video. Like I can just record my voice and that can be a way to kind of express myself. Like it's mind-blowing to see me a year or two later, just like I am so happy with myself and who I am, and I don't even mean just inside. I think I'm beautiful too. And I literally was in such a hopeless place. I never thought I'd get there. And I think a big part of why it's helped me too is like coming to your journal every day. That's like a spiritual practice. That's a practice of mindfulness. It feels like a form of meditation for me personally. That is why it's so important to make it a habit. You have to do it every day. You need to promise yourself for the next month, you're going to journal every day in the morning as soon as you wake up. Because this is also why I never got much out of it in years prior, is because I would just come to my journal once every like couple months. And when you are building on top of this habit every single day, that is where like ways of thinking will start to shift, because you're forming a more positive habit. What was so impactful for me personally is like the act of doing it every single day is what made me realize that all of my thoughts are okay. All of them, my positive and my negative. Like the act of doing it every day got me more used to my thoughts instead of just feeling like I felt so threatened all the time by my negative thoughts. And I felt very judgmental of my thoughts. Even when I was in the times where I was being hard on myself, I would even be like, well, you're not going to get any better by being hard on yourself. And it's like, the spiral is never ending. And so much shame would come out of that. And that's also why I think people who have eating disorders would get a lot out of this, because I always say, in my personal experience with an eating disorder, like so much of it is rooted just in like shame and feeling like you're not good enough. And you can really start to unravel that and maybe even reverse it a bit when you are allowing yourself to get used to your thoughts. It's kind of the same effect as me having trouble seeing myself in pictures and just like I dedicated like a whole year to just being like, I'm going to have photos taken of myself. I'm going to tell my friends to encourage me to do the same. I'm going to get through it. I need to just like face this. It's kind of the same kind of thing with journaling, like just facing all of your thoughts and making it a habit. Exposure therapy with your thoughts, essentially. And there's an episode that I love from The Psychology of Your 20s that has a whole episode about journaling. It's called The Psychology of Journaling. She talks about the literal science behind why it will probably change your life. And there are a few kind of points that I loved in there. There are many studies that have been done that prove that journaling increases your IQ, your emotional intelligence. They literally did a study that showed that people who journal every day get through heartbreak faster. They literally did a study that people were physically healing faster. The people who were journaling every day about their hardship, their wounds healed faster. Go listen to the podcast, like I said. I'm no psychologist, but there is so much science behind it. And that's what's really like fascinating and validating to me. I love that podcast because it just validates a lot of like my mental health struggles. When she was talking about how people were literally physically healing faster from journaling, it got me thinking about how I glowed the fuck up when I started journaling. And I was just thinking about this today. I started doing my hair nicer, my makeup nicer. And of course, it's just like these were also more habits I was implementing. Journaling gave me like the baseline to be like, okay, what can I tackle in a day now? Where it's like, I didn't even have that before. I was just a fucking mess all the time. So of course you could say the repeated habits of like showing up to look nice for myself and wear a nice outfit helped me kind of like figure out what makeup looks good on me, how I like to do my hair, the clothes I like to wear. But I even think the act of journaling has helped me kind of unwind like my taste, like remember what I love in everyday life. And how that can inspire my style and how I want to look. And that puts a lot of confidence in myself. It just helps you remember what you like and you don't like, and you can kind of hone in on who you are, and it will start to shine from inside out. I posted a video last summer about how I posted a side by side. I look very similar in these two different photos, but in one photo you can clearly see like I'm sad and uncomfortable and insecure, and in the other photo it's like I look so bright and happy and I feel like me, and kind of the things I did in between those two photos to get there. It was journaling. So for this last half, I thought I would answer some frequently asked questions that I get about journaling. How to stop overthinking and wondering what others would think about what you wrote. I'd say the biggest thing is like you just need to keep showing up every day. It took me months to get to a point where I felt like very comfortable with the flow of like my thoughts. And like I was talking about before, it is just kind of like exposure therapy. The more you do it, the more you'll realize nobody's judging me. Nobody's reading this. I don't need to judge myself. I'm not judging myself. And you'll kind of just get more used to that. Do I think about like when I die, will people read my journal? Like maybe, but I just don't really care, if I'm being honest. Like I think I want that. Even if things are negative or I'm feeling frustrated with people in my life, like if they were to read it, like I know I have people in my life who, if they did read it, they wouldn't judge me. I know my journal is like safe in my home, and that can be liberating when you work through that, I think. Somebody asked if I find it physically hard. Did you have to rebuild the handwriting muscle? I didn't. And like when I got into journaling, a few of my friends did too, and they're like, damn, my hand is hurting. And I didn't experience that. I don't know if like I write a lot at work, maybe. I don't really experience a lot of pain when I'm writing, but I think that's normal. And once again, if you keep showing up, your writing muscles will build and it won't be as painful. I definitely have some like, what are those called? The little like bulbous things you get on your knuckles when you're writing. I do kind of have that going on, but a good pen, like a good, like a Sharpie S-Gel, she gets the job done. Not one of those Papermate ones where you're like pressing into the page. I like those occasionally, but not for journaling. I want something that is swift, so I can get my thoughts out as they're coming. People always ask me what journal I use. Normally I use the Leuchtturm medium line. Right now I'm using a Moleskine. Normally I have it stickered up. Stickers are an investment, okay? So this is my setup right now. I have the Moleskine line. I have it in this mint color, and then I got this notebook in Japan, but I'm pretty sure you can get them here too. Comes with all of these cute stickers. This smaller one is for my monthly goals. So I will like write down my monthly goals every month, my monthly intentions, and then I'll also go in my regular journal and just like journal about how I want to feel by the end of the month. And then I'll also put like some permanent notes I want in here, like my yearly goals, ways I'd like to save money. Like I'll put, I'd like to go to the gym this many times, do walk or yoga as much as I can, finish my audiobook by the end of the month, get photos printed that I need to printed, hang an art piece that I've been meaning to hang, what podcast episodes I want to post. Those will kind of be my goals that I can check off, and then I'll do my intentions before that actually, and just say, I want to focus on videos this month, or I want to take more action this month. I've been wanting to eliminate the space between thinking and doing. It's kind of been a hard month, I won't lie. I'll show you what the Leuchtturm looks like. A little bigger. Definitely prefer this page size. My Sharpie S gel pen. She's a dream. She is a dream. I get like a 4-pack at Staples. I run out way too fast. Lots of people ask me if I ever draw blanks on what to write. Keep showing up. Even if you're drawing a blank, right? I'm drawing a blank a million times. There's like something to be said in that too. You know what I mean? Like your mind is always trying to tell you something. Even the fact that you can't think of anything to write is like telling you something. Like, what am I avoiding? What am I scared to admit? And so many people ask me, how do you know what to write about? And that is such a teller that I talk about this a lot. We're living in this very online world where, especially since TikTok, like we're just being fed what to think, how to feel, what to consume, what movies to watch, what music to listen to. We are really losing autonomy over the things we like, kind of accidentally. It's hard not to. Like, it's very addictive, and that's why journaling is so important too, because you're challenging that. You're just sitting with your thoughts and being mindful and spending time with you and your thoughts. And when you're constantly scrolling or watching TV, like, you're kind of numbing that out. So I can see why people would have trouble just even like knowing what to write about. And again, that is why you keep just showing up. There's no right or wrong answer. Literally write about anything that is on your mind. Like some days I'll be like, I'll wake up and be like, I'm so stressed about this and this and this and blah, 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 blah. Or, I'm so excited for this. Or I'll talk about the day I had before, if it was good or bad, or something I might want to remember. If I'm feeling like scrambled in my head about the week ahead, I'll write down a list and be like, Monday, I'm going to try to do this. Tuesday, I'm going to try to do this. I'm not even using that to refer back to. Like, I probably won't even look at that again. It's just like helps me collect my thoughts better. And I just want to reiterate, like, there is no right or wrong. That's the whole point of it. There's no right or wrong. And that is how you like release the shame within yourself. Because you're like, wait, there is no right or wrong. Anything I say is fine and okay. And that's the whole point of it. And that's how it can make you a more confident person. Like some days, every paragraph for me will be a new subject. Or other days, whole 3 pages will just be on one subject. There's no right or wrong. And I would say I really encourage you to just try to write about your thoughts. Like in terms of prompts, I use them occasionally. I mainly use a prompt. Like I love prompts for the beginning of the month. Like how do I want to feel by the end of the month? Stuff like that. If a prompt is the only thing that will keep you coming back every day, use a goddamn prompt. Please, I'm begging you. Like the most important thing is that you do it every day. Sometimes people ask like, does it ever feel repetitive? And that's why it doesn't feel repetitive for me, is because I'm like, I do feel different day to day. Or sometimes TBH, it does feel repetitive in terms of like, if I'm going in circles and being like, why can't I just feel better? Why can't I just feel better? It's like, what are you feeling though? And even the repetitiveness has something to tell me. That is why I kind of stopped doing the gratitude list every day because it just felt like I can only say I'm grateful for all the things in my life so many times. I can't do it for years and years and years every day. Some days I will write a gratitude list if I'm really like feeling it. Another thing that really helps me that Julia Cameron shares in The Artist Way is to write out your blurts, like any like limiting belief or thought you have about yourself or something you want to accomplish. You write them all out. Like, let's use the podcast, for example. I'll be like, nobody cares. Nobody's listening. Nobody cares what I have to say. I'm stupid and don't have anything to offer. I'll literally write all that down. And then you go in with each blurt and you write the opposite of it. So I'm stupid, for example. My opposite would be, I am smart and emotionally intelligent. Even if you want to throw a because in there, like, so you can prove it to yourself. Because I do this and this and this every day, that proves otherwise. That's something I really love to do sometimes. So you'll like learn your own kind of methods and like what really helps you the more you just keep doing it. And I share on my Instagram stories all the time one of my favorite methods that I've learned on my own. I will write down my 3-page stream of consciousness, and then I will, at the end of it, I'll do like a mantra that basically summarizes everything I just wrote about, and that will be the mantra that will carry me through the day. So sometimes throughout my day, if I'm feeling stressed, I can like think back to that. Like, for example, if I'm having a bad like bout of body image and I'm like writing about that for 3 pages, then my mantra will be like, I am worthy because of my emotional intelligence and my creativity or whatever. Just something like that. Some other mantra examples for you. I am grateful to be here. I am grateful to always be learning more about myself. I am grateful to be me. So those probably came after entries of like not feeling good about myself. Or maybe feeling great about myself and I just want to keep the good vibes going. Opportunities come to me when I be myself. There are plenty of opportunities waiting for me with the path I am already on. You can't fail if you never give up. I can do anything I set my mind to. There are endless opportunities at any point in this lifetime. I am right on time. I am abundant. And all of those mantras were after one journal entry. Like I really needed the encouragement that day. Lots of people ask me if I prefer journaling in the morning or evening. Like I said, I definitely, if you're trying to get into the habit, absolutely do the morning. Do it as soon as you wake up a little earlier, give yourself half an hour, prioritize it over anything else in the morning. But that doesn't stop me from journaling in the evening, in the afternoon. Even if I journal one morning, I might walk to the park and go journal again after work. I love journaling at nighttime. I find nighttime is really a time where I feel like inspired. So instead of just like writing about what I'm thinking or writing about how I'm feeling, I'll find in the evening, I just tend to lean towards journaling about like goals I want to accomplish, how